Hello everybody. First of all, I would like to say thank you to everybody that watched initial video that I share about the modification of the dipstick for this motorcycle. I was really surprised how many people were interested in this topic, and I thought I will provide a really quick update after I have the chance to ride the motorcycle after modification, and I also did some updates to it. So please let me share a little bit more details. So here we go. So after our initial posting of the modification of the dipstick, I was actually contacted by one of the major manufacturers of the original dipstick, and I was being told that modification that I presented have actually like few shortcomings that the original dipstick provide, and there was actually like few little things that that were being mentioned. The first one was actually the oil-air separator that are actually inserted in the original dipsticks that allow the separation of the air from the oil in order to just get the air out from the breather rather than puking the oil. The other one was submitted by one of the members of the Facebook groups, and he mentioned that the dipstick that I show was actually not sealed, which will create the leak during the use of our modified dipstick, which of course I also have to agree with, because right now that we drill the holes in the bottom of the dipstick and also on the top there is the hose coming out, there is opportunity for the oil to actually get out, since both of those parts are originally two different pieces, and there was the air opening in between. So if the air and oil will try to get out through this tube, there is opportunity that this one will leak. So that was also one of the really important comments that I received. And additional comment that I received mentioning what was one of the shortcomings of this idea was the fact that there will be no vent at the end of the line, and air can actually go back into the crankcase from the atmosphere, when original design should only allow the air from the crankcase to go out and rather not come back later on, which may introduce additional moisture. All of those comments were actually really valid, and I was really happy to receive those. And I started watching other videos about this modification, and looks like I'm not actually the first person that tried to modify this dipstick. And after viewing some of these posts, I would like to share this additional update for our dipstick that will allow us to do the job properly, because yes, of course I would like to add all these additional features that were being mentioned to me that I additionally didn't realize that are necessary, and will be really helpful for all of us. So in order to fix our shortcomings of our idea, we will have to separate the upper part from the lower part of the dipstick. And I was able to do that by simply prying the upper part off with the screwdriver, but I have to say, please be really careful, because there are 4 tabs on sides of this gray part on the bottom part of the dipstick, and those are really fragile, so it's really easy to actually damage them. And I have to admit, I actually damaged one of those tabs, so that actually forced me to glue the upper part to the bottom part. And additional idea that was provided was about the separation of the oil from the air. So in order to solve this problem, I actually decide to insert the foam inside of this hollow part of the dipstick, that actually after we remove the cap, there is hollow space in here. And what I did, I took a regular sponge from the kitchen, and I separate the part of the bottom of the sponge, which I show in the second, in order to get a really nice separator that will help me to separate the air from the oil. I actually was able to record a few short videos that show the details how I seal the dipstick in order to prevent any leakage of the oil from the dipstick in case there is a little bit bigger amount of oil going through the dipstick itself and going into the venting line. And I also bought the one-way valve that I install at the end of the venting line, and I thought that it was a great idea and great suggestion that was being provided to me. And I 100% agree that this is something that is really helpful. So this way the air will be able to come out from the crankcase, but not necessarily go back in. So I thought that I will share this quick update with everybody, and I really hope that you will like to know these additional details. So please let me show you what was the additional steps that I did for the initial modifications. After I was able to insert the sponge inside of the hollow part of the dipstick, of course I have to reattach the upper part of the dipstick with the lower one, but at the same time assure that there is the seal between those two parts, so the oil and air will not actually seep out through it, because this part initially was not sealed since there was no need, as the lower part didn't have any holes. So in order to do that, I actually use a gasket maker and I put it around the outside part of the gray part of the dipstick, and in order to create a seal. And I also use the Permatex in order to attach the upper part to the bottom part. This glue, of course, is drying super quick. This is like almost our regular super glue, so it allowed me to connect those parts really quickly. But also what I noticed, that after this dry, that there was still this upper part from the bottom was not sealed properly, and there was still the air leakage when I tried to blow the air through the hose, and I covered these holes on the bottom. So what I did after the super glue set up and create like nice connection between those two parts, I actually use a little bit stronger glue. That this one is two-part glue that I'm pretty sure everybody is really familiar with, and that creates a really strong bond that allow us to seal the lower and upper part of this dipstick, to make sure that there is no leakage of the oil during the use of it. So let me show what is the dipstick looking right now after I do this additional steps in order to seal it. So hopefully you guys will be able to see this, but I have to say it came up really nice and clean, and I wiped the glue a little bit just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth up there, and here it is. So the third part that will have to be modified for our modified dipstick is actually installation of this one-way valve. This valve actually works only one way and will allow the air to come from this side and it will go out, but will not allow the air from the atmosphere to actually come from this side and go back. There is a small valve that is activated by like a little pressure, and it will allow the air to go out and protect our crankcase and internal parts of our engine from the moisture. That is, of course, something that we'll try to avoid. So this is how this valve looks like, and this is how it works. It allows the air to go out, but nothing is coming back. $6, and it was, I actually decided to install it at the end of the at the end of the line, so I will show that in a second. This is this guy in here, and yes, as you can see, this is the breather line that is under the frame, and yes, the air will actually go out this way, and this one is facing forward to the bike, so I will probably just reattach it like sideways. There is like really nice place under the engine that allow me to do that, but just for the demonstration purposes I thought I will show that. And yes, this one in here. I'm really happy with the final results for this modification. It was still really cheap, so this should work pretty good. I really hope that everybody enjoyed this video and that was helpful for somebody in order to save some money. I hope what I show right now was helpful for everybody. Like I mentioned, I would like to make sure that there is no problem with this modification for anybody, and I have the chance to ride the bike about 40 miles after I sealed the dipstick and I put this one-way valve that actually help with properly venting the crankcase. I have to say there was no seepage of the oil, so looks like everything is working properly. I really hope that everybody that watched the first video will be interested in the part 2, just to hear a little bit more update on this modification to these motorcycles. And I really hope you enjoyed that. Please share and subscribe. I really appreciate all the subscriptions that I have so far, and I mean, it really means the world to me, and I receive a lot of really nice and positive comments. So thank you very much for doing all that. It really is something special to me, and I will be more than happy to share more videos about my modifications to this motorcycle, as well as maybe some videos from trips, or maybe some reviews in the future. So please stay tuned and hit this like and subscribe button, and I will really appreciate all your help and subscriptions. Thank you so much, and ride safe, and see you guys soon. Bye bye.